Vanilla Mode is out now. To me, when I listen to this record, man, I just think good old-fashioned blue collar, Midwestern, heart of America, rock and roll. I picture you guys just showing up, plugging in, rocking out, jamming, and this is what came out in a lot of ways.
Yeah, pretty much. No, that's where we come from. We write what we are.
Awesome. Um, I gotta ask the big one, man. Paul Rodgers, dude, on Mr.
Yeah.
Midnight, working with Paul Rodgers. What was that like? I know you guys are managed by Dave, and he's worked with Paul a lot. Did Dave have anything to do with connecting the two of you together? How did that relationship and that collaboration come up?
Well, we do have Paul's bass player Todd Ronning in the band, so it started
Okay.
there actually.
Okay.
Todd's been a part of Bad Company since 2011, and before that, he was in excuse me, Paul's solo band on and off for years. So Paul and Todd have been together the better part of 25 years. And when they were getting ready to do Paul's last solo album, there was a bunch of demos they worked on in the rehearsal studio, and Mr. Midnight was one that just kind of got lost. And Paul forgot they did it. He forgot they worked on it. They worked on so many songs. He had it. And he sent it to me, and he asked me what I thought about doing it. Yeah, I like it. And said, "Do you think Paul would sing on it with us?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm sure he would." So then we went to David after that. David said he absolutely will, and he did. So
Nice.
simple as that. And then Paul said he wished he wouldn't have forgot that song. He would have loved to have it on his album. So
He can do a cover. Can you imagine
yeah.
Paul Rodgers
Well, there
doing it?
isn't there's a YouTube out there of him doing it several years back. I think the only time he ever did it.
Huh.
Yeah, on one of his shows, I think maybe at Royal Albert Hall or somewhere like that over in England. But he did it once.
Nice. Oh, that's wild, man. It would just be wild to see Paul Rodgers do a Hillbilly Vegas cover. That would be nuts, man. Um, the record has been received really well. The songs are doing
Yeah.
extremely well. Mr. Midnight is doing insane numbers right now. Um, Tell me about just what went into writing some of these songs. I mean, Find Me Yesterday. Jesus. Stuff just there's so many good songs on this record, but tell me a little bit about where this record comes from artistically for you guys. When you sit back and look at the response it's been getting with the numbers, what does that really mean to you guys when you see it doing this well?
Well, it makes us happy because with this record, we took it and we decided to record it ourselves, produce it ourselves, and just do it all by ourselves and not have to look. You can, when you work with other people and things don't work out right, you can blame them, right? You can say, well, if I wouldn't have worked with that guy or that studio was bad or whatever. We just decided to own it up and say, hey, listen, if it's good, because we did it all by ourselves. If it's bad, it's because we did it all by ourselves or whatever. But we just decided this time we were going to take zero direction and zero suggestions. And that doesn't mean direction and suggestions are always bad. It just means that this time we wanted to do exactly what we wanted to do, sound how we wanted it to sound, and tell the stories we wanted to tell. And if they came out great, they did. But if they didn't, at least they're all ours. And Janie Lane, you know him from Warrant. He told me a
Yeah.
story once. He told me that when he was recording their debut album, that the producer, I believe Bo Hill, said no to the song "Heaven," and and they wanted a Desmond Child song instead. And Janie said the Desmond Child song was great, but he wanted to do "Heaven." And so Janie said he shut down production for 2 weeks until they agreed to let him do "Heaven," and it became, one of the
Yeah.
big monster hits. He said the moral of that story is, he said, listen, after everybody else you work with is gone, they'll walk away to the next project. You're left with it. You're the one that has to live with what you did. And you're the one who has to own it. You're the one who has to talk about it. And you're the one who has to be responsible for it. So since that's the case, then you're the one who should make all the choices and do what you want to do, because you'll have to in the end be happy with it or mad at it or whatever. And so we kind of took that advice from Janie that he gave me years ago. And we decided, you know what, we're going to own it this time. We're going to do exactly what we want to do and how we want to do it and sound how we want to sound. And we'll own it. And so, yeah, I'm really happy that people like it. I'm happy that people are relating to it. It's doing what it's doing. And it just kind of tells you that regular people making regular people music appeals to regular people, right?
Right? And then down at every jukebox in town, For one, the song makes me smile because I feel like everybody has said those words at one point or another when a song comes over the jukebox speakers at the bar. It's like, God
Yeah.
damn, it's on every jukebox. Like every, it's just
Yes.
it's just made me
Well,
laugh and smile, man.
we when we first started out, our first record deal was with a Nashville label,
Yep.
and they were great, but we were a round peg in a square hole, or a square peg in a round hole, whatever they call it. See, I can't even get that right. We went there, and Nashville is like a factory. They have writers, they have producers, they have studio players and touring players, they have engineers, and they have, just this machine. And if you go in there and you upset that apple cart, you're not part of that machine, then the whole works gets gummed up. And since we write and play our own stuff and all that, it just didn't work out for us.
Right.
And Nashville's a wonderful place, and they create brilliant music, obviously. But for us, it didn't work. And so when we left there, we kind of wrote that song, and I kind of was thinking about the machine, and the way that there's those songs that are just knocked out like an assembly line. And so
Mhm.
I just started throwing cliches together. And, there's a Bible and a gun and a cheating heart before the third verse ever starts. Just silly stuff. I didn't really expect it to actually ever be a real song, and it turned out to be a real song. And yeah, on the smile meter, it's a good one for us. I like smiles, and if we bring smiles to people's faces, then we did a good job.
Right. I work in pro wrestling here in Indianapolis too, and that's one thing that we say the most is like, we write the stories
Indianapolis.
and the Terre Haute. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That place is so cool, man. That place, I saw Skillet there last summer, and that place it's weird because it's in town, but you feel
I
like you're in
know.
the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it's great. And we played up around Indianapolis too. We played it was just outside of Indianapolis, big amphitheater. I forget what it was called.
Ruoff, Ruoff, no, Noblesville, I think.
Probably.
Probably,
Yeah,
yeah.
we were there with Nugent, and it was good. And the mill, but the mill was really cool. I loved it there. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
good place. Indiana was a lot of fun. We liked it.
Indiana's perfect for a band like you guys, man. I feel like you guys connect here really, really
Yeah, it was
well.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a great time there. Really, really enjoyed Indiana, Indianapolis, and Terre Haute, and all those.
Mhm.
We played another one in Indiana. It was out in the middle of nowhere, man, and it was like all in the Amish area. And there's wagons and carts and horses and Amish people everywhere. That was wild. But we got to that venue, and they had a restaurant inside there, and they all the home cooking there and everything. It was really fun. Really
Nice.
enjoyed that one too. I'd have to look back see what it's called, but yeah, all in all, that was a great state. We had a great time there.
Yeah, I feel like a song like Let It Ride would be perfect out here. Just when you guys crank that one up, man. I can just close my eyes and picture myself in just just kind of like a club setting, and that song is cranked
Hmm.
up, and just the crowd is going wild. It's 21 and up only, and everyone is just partying it up and having a good time. That's what I picture when I hear a lot of these songs, man.
Yeah, we did well with Let It Ride. It did play in Indiana at several radio stations. It made it to number 10 on the Billboard Rock charts. It was the first single off this album. And and it resonated with a lot of people everywhere. And when I put that little falsetto part in it, I wasn't sure if that was going to work or not, but I heard Glenn Hughes, of course from Trapeze and Deep Purple fame, he talked about there's always a little falsetto in the song, adds a little funk to it. So I decided to try it and it worked. So yeah, it's been a real good one for us. We open our set every night with that one.
Especially that double guitar at the beginning, man. Like just
Yeah.
oh yes. Um, are there any songs on the record that you were hoping were going to connect with people when you wrote them? Like this one connects with me. I'm hoping people really feel this one. Were there any songs like that on this one when you got ready to put it out?
Every time if you approach writing that way, you'll always fail. Honestly, at least I do. So I think what you have to do is you have to tell your story, but tell it in a way that it leaves it open enough for people to find their story and their feelings inside of it too. And that's what I always hope for. I always hope for that they find a little bit of their life and their story inside of my story. And I love to hear that they do, and I love it when they do. But I never go into it with that intention because sometimes you have to really go into songwriting with no intentions, because if you have an agenda when you start writing songs, you will write the wrong song and write a bad song. You just have to let them come to you, and you have to tell the story that it gives you, and hope it works.
After this at this point in your songwriting career and whatnot, does it get easier to write as you go, or does it get harder to keep putting out consistently good original music? Or have you kind of gotten to a point in your songwriting where you know what you're doing, you know what works, and it's still easy, or is it hard? Because I've tried to write songs myself. I can't do it.
Is it? Well, I don't know how to, I don't know how to tell people it. Yes, it's hard, but it's easy at the same time. But knowing what you're doing is never something that I don't know. I don't write. I purposely don't write a lot of songs. I know guys that write have 300 songs they've written, and that's not to say all 200 or 300 of them are good. A lot of them are crap. I mean, let's be honest. And so I try to not write very many songs. You know what I mean? So I try to put some time into each one and think about it and get it right. But honestly, no, it never gets any easier or any better, any like enlightened. You don't get enlightened and say, okay, you might get a formula sometimes, but truly, I think you have to be uncomfortable to write good songs, and I think you have to be uncomfortable to uh to do it genuinely. You know what I mean? Because if you start getting too confident, just like if you have an agenda going into it, like I said earlier, you'll mess it up. So yeah, every song is different. It comes to you a different way. It feels a different way, and there's not one way to do it. You know what I mean? But I would say that the best thing you can do is just listen, make sure you tell a story. Make sure that you get your point across in as few words as possible. You know,
Makes
because too
sense.
many words messes them up too.
That makes a lot of sense. Um, when it comes to playing shows, do you
Yeah.
approach playing with maybe a Nugent or a Blake Shelton the same or differently from playing with maybe a Travis Tritt or an Alabama or a Blackberry Smoke? Do you guys approach those type of shows differently, or are they all the same? Because those can be very different crowds at a lot of times, sometimes different types of venues, different types of tours. But do you guys approach anything differently, or is it all the same for you guys?
Well, but you know what? They're not different kind of crowds. Because when you're playing with, say, Blake Shelton or
Mhm.
Tracy Lawrence, we played with him. He's very country. Ain't me a Birmingham, that guy.
Yeah.
You know what his band sound checked with? Back in Black. You know what they played
Okay.
over the loudspeakers in between bands? AC/DC,
Hmm.
Pantera, Bad Company, Willie Nelson. It's the people are fine with variety. Sometimes it's the industry that's not fine with variety. So as long as you take the approach of I'm playing to the people in front of me, not behind me, then you're going to be fine. And so, and honestly, you have to own your personality and you have to own your sound. So you just go out there and you be yourself. If they hate you, they hate you. If they like you, they like you. But one thing you say at the end, it was me that went out there. And so no, I don't believe in changing an approach no matter who we're playing with, honestly, because you have that 45 minutes or however long it is to talk to those people, and they belong to you for that 45 minutes, whether you're warming somebody up or not. And so they listen. Everybody wants to hear "Shook Me All Night Long," even if they're in the Boot Scootin' Country Club, right?
True.
So so the people are the same. The people are the same. So you, like I said, you play to who's in front of you, not behind you.
That's true. Yeah, I guess that does make sense. I remember the first show I ever photographed as doing this was Jason Aldean and Luke Bryan. And I can't remember, it
Hmm.
was 2010. It was actually in Terre Haute because I went to Indiana State. But I do remember they did, I want to say Highway to Hell or one of those classics. And that
Right?
song got almost a bigger reaction than their songs did. Um,
Who doesn't want to hear AC/DC or who doesn't want to be AC/DC? Angus Young had the greatest quote I ever heard. Some critic was kind of being a smart aleck and said, AC/DC's made the same album 11 times. And he goes, no, you're wrong. We've made it 12 times. And because once you figure it out, you just do it, right? They're great.
yeah.
Yeah, but people want to hear the music. They want to hear good songs. That's what people want to hear. They want to hear good songs. It doesn't matter the genre. There was a time when you heard Leonard Skinner, Roberta Flack, and the theme song from Star Wars all in the same weekly top 40. Go
Yeah,
back and listen on Sirius XM right now on the 70s channel. Every weekend they play the weekly top 40, and you will hear the theme from the Pink Panther right next to Three Dog Night, and they're all in the
true.
top 40. You know, the music industry broke all that up. People didn't.
I mean,
Look at
it
your
was
playlist, your own playlist.
it was even that way maybe as recently as maybe 20 years ago too. I remember when I was a kid, I'd be at the pool in town because I'm from Iowa and they play
Yeah,
whatever. And it would be just the hits, the pop hit station, but you would hear
that's right.
Seether, Nickelback,
That's
Shinedown,
right.
but then you would also hear Pink and 50 Cent all on the same station. And then I don't know where it changed, but you were talking about that with Nashville where it's very formulaic now,
Hmm.
which I don't
And I
know.
think I think they've compartmentalized those genres, and that's what's happened. But people, if you look at everybody's playlist, they don't have one genre in their playlist. So why should I stick to one genre? Why can't I have a country song and a heavy song and a ballad? Why can't I do that if as a listener I do it anyway? So what's the difference? You know what I mean? And so that's just kind of the approach we've taken.
Yeah,
It was hard for us at first. It was hard going, to be honest with you, because nobody wanted us to do that. They wanted us to be all country, and we weren't country enough for them. And then we went to rock, and we didn't go to rock. We just kept playing what we were playing. Well, you're not rock enough for us, and that. And so you finally just have to find your audience and find somebody that one person who believes in you and put you on the radio. And the next thing you know, you got seven top 20s on the Billboard.
yeah. I had a very
Just takes
similar
that one guy.
I had a very similar conversation with Tim Montana about that last year, where he
He's
same thing.
great,
Yeah, first off one of the nicest guys in the world for one,
right?
and he was in same story. He was in Nashville, and he was like, I wasn't country enough for him, but I wasn't rock enough at the same time. And I went to country. Country wouldn't let me in, so I went to rock, and it was the best decision I've ever made. Were you surprised when you found that that's the way it was, or did you know that going in?
Um, I kind of knew it going in. Now, to be fair, we charted three country singles on the country charts, and two of our songs, "Shake It Like a Hillbilly" and "High Time for a Good Time," charted both on the rock and the country charts. So we did have a little bit of success. The problem was is that we just felt a little bit out of place, and especially as when you want to be independent and you want to do things yourself. And Tim's exactly right. There should be a genre for those of us who are the tweeners. And I would say that rock radio is a little more forgiving than country radio is. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And they're a little
Mhm.
more open and they're a little more inclusive.
Yeah.
Because but we still have a couple of there's a song that we really wanted to be a single on this album. I'm not going to tell you which one it is, but the overseas radio played it. They loved it. And in America, they said, it's a little too country for us.
And
And so unfortunately it won't make a radio single in America, even though we thought it should. So it still happens a little, but not as much. But when you go to Nashville, they're great at what they do. And I have nothing bad to say about them. I just think that you have to be able to fit into that mold. And if you don't, and they don't know what to do with you, you better just go somewhere else because nothing's going to happen for you there.
Christian music's the same way because I covered that too, and it's the exact same thing. But it's almost worse because when you hit a certain age, it's like you age out of Christian music, and then they still want nothing to do with you after you hit like a certain age, which is even worse. But
Right.
what I love about Hillbilly Vegas, but also Tim, and then a new one in Royal Lynn is I'm from Iowa, but I do not like country music, but you guys make me feel like I like country music. It's just country enough for me, but it's still got that rock and roll, Midwestern rock and roll vibe that I absolutely love, so
Well,
love that.
maybe it's not that you don't like country music. Maybe it's that they don't possess enough attitude. If you put a little personality and attitude in things, sometimes you'll see a TV show that you don't think you'll like, but the
Hmm,
characters come across like you like them, so you end up liking it better. You know what I mean?
hmm,
Maybe there's a lot of Travis Tritt's one of the greatest country artists ever, and he was also one of the great Southern rock guys. And we spent a lot of time with Travis, and I will tell you that there is not a more talented guy in the world than that guy, but also he can rock when he wants to, and he's fantastic. Sometimes, hopefully, if you find something in one band that you like, maybe you'll go explore some others. Tim Montana is fantastic, but there's a lot of us out there that are doing that,
yeah.
and you'll find them, but I get you. I don't like pop country at all. I can't make myself listen to it. But it's
Right.
somebody loves it, and that's all that matters, right? There's something
Yeah.
for everybody.
Yeah. But I just remember when I turned on Ala mode, man, from start to finish, I'm like, for one, I was in my kitchen doing dishes and just God, when my son walked in and he started jumping up on the counter and just and just loving it. I'm like, we got something here, you know. He loves his rock and roll, and I just remember me and my boy were just standing in the kitchen, just rocking out to Let It Ride and to Miss
I love
America,
that.
all of these songs,
I
man.
love that.
It's
Absolutely love
just
hearing that. Thank you.
it's a fun album, man. It's a fun listen, especially when you're on the interstate or driving down the country roads with the windows down, just that wind blowing through your hair through the car, and just these songs are cranked up. It just feels right, man.
Isn't that what it's supposed to be? It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to give you a good feeling, right? It's supposed to be an escape. We say it all the time when we're playing. Whatever's going on out there, we're not going to talk about out there tonight. We're in here, and in here, none of that matters. In here, we're going to suspend reality. We'll turn it back on by the time you get to your car, but real life is suspended for this amount of time. And isn't that what music should do? Because someday your boy, if he likes a song like that as a young one, someday he'll come back to it and say, "Man, I remember when I was a kid, I loved that," and he'll still get that smile when he's older. That's what music should be. It shouldn't be heavy. It shouldn't be burdensome. It shouldn't make us have to think too much. It should make us have a feeling, whether it's a
Yes,
sad feeling that you can relate to with a ballad, or whether it's something that just makes you feel good or brings a smile to your face or makes you just want to drive or whatever. You will remember that song and take that with you for a lifetime. And that's what it should be. That's what it should be.
can you tell me where "Find Me Yesterday" comes from and what that song means to you?
Yeah. My mother, we were on tour with Ted Nugent in the summer of 23, and my mother had been suffering from cancer for a while, but she was getting very close to the end. And they called me. I think we were going to be home on September 1st, and they called me about 3 weeks before that and said she was in the hospital and she wasn't doing well. She might not make it. And I didn't know what to do. Well, I was going to go home. And we got to one of the venues one night, I think in Chicago, and Ted called me into his dressing room and he put his arm around me and he made a video. He had his son Rocco, who's his assistant, make a video, and he spoke to my mother and told my mother what a great job I was doing out there and that they were all pulling for her. You know, he didn't have to do that. I didn't even know he knew about it. And then they told me, listen, go home if you need to go home. So I thought about it. Mom got a little bit better and she was all right. And I got home on the 1st and she passed away on the 16th of September. So I got to spend some
Oh,
time with her. And after the day of the funeral and the days leading after her passing, I saw my dad sitting in a chair. They'd been married, almost 60 years, close 57 years.
wow.
And he just stared out the window for 2 or 3 days. Didn't talk, just stared out the window. And I tried to imagine what he must be thinking about and what he must be feeling. And he might he might be thinking more about yesterday than he is today and tomorrow, because you don't know what you're going to do now, but you know what you did. And so I started thinking about how much better it is to try to remember good things and try to live in. If there's nothing wrong with living in yesterday once in a while, if it brings you comfort, right? And
Mhm.
so that's what made me think about it. And then I came home, and my mother loved redbirds, and I looked out the window at my house, and there was a redbird I'd never seen before, just staring at me through the window, and it made me think about that song. And I picked up a guitar and I wrote it right then. I sent it to Geraldo, our keyboardist, and I said, "Hey, will you put this on piano? It's just for me." He's a great piano player. And he said, "I really think we should put a whole band to that and put that on the album." And I said, "I don't want to do that. I don't want it on the album. It's not for that. That song will not relate to anybody. It's just mine, right?" And he said, "No, we should do it." So we did it. And I'm glad I was wrong, because I can't tell you the amount of feedback I've gotten from it. And it makes me happy. But again, I wrote it for myself. And so I wrote it the right way instead of thinking about it for anybody else. I just wrote it the right way, wrote it for myself. But people could find their thing in it. And my mom's wind chimes are the wind chimes you hear at the beginning of that, because she loved her wind chimes. And if you notice in the second verse, it said, the redbird sings, sky's still blue, wind chimes still ring. because everything just moves on. They have no idea she's gone. Only you do. So you might take yourself to, excuse me, to a better day and a better time. And I could only imagine my dad. I never asked him. I imagine he was staring out the window thinking about the previous 57 years rather
Hmm.
than what the 58th year is going to look like. So, long story short, that's where it came from. Just watching him kind of processing.
Wow. But like you said, that's what makes music so great is that song does exactly that, makes people feel. And, is
Yeah,
the person who wrote those words, make your words resonating with people so much. I mean, that's what it's all about, man. Like that's what it's all about.
yeah. Life is full of stories. Life is full of feelings, and if you can help people find those and help people, I've had some people tell me, the lady that Gina, her name's Gina Hurley in England. She does our merch for us when we're over there, and just is a great friend. She lost her husband a few years ago, and when she heard it, she thanked me for it because she said that's her song now, and I really appreciated hearing that, and to hear more and more people in reviews and everything else be touched by it and talk about it. It's really something because again, like I told you earlier in this talk that we're having, that you don't go into any song thinking that you're going to do anything for anybody. You just do it for yourself and hope it works. And it did in that case. And I'm really happy about it. Especially, and I'm happy because Geraldo, he made me put it on the album and I didn't want to. I really didn't. I
I
just
fe-
wanted it. I just wanted it to be for me.
I feel like that's a lot of band's most popular songs sometimes is songs that you hear so many stories about how some of the biggest hits, the bands either didn't like the song or didn't want to put it on the album or the label didn't believe in it like heaven. And it ended up being the one song that resonated the most with the fans that the band ever did sometimes. And
Well,
could easily be
and I'll tell you what one of our first record company guys told us. When we were in Nashville, he's passed on now, but he was a really good guy named Ben Ewing. And I was telling him, I think this song should be our first single, and I was acting because I thought, yeah, this song should be it. He looks at me and he laughs and he says, "Listen, you don't get to decide what your singles are. The people do. People will tell you what songs you have that are good. The people will tell you which songs
cool.
are good, not you." And you know what? He was right though, because as I've told you before, the people will tell you. They'll
Yeah,
tell you if they like it or don't like it. You know what I mean? And you'll know pretty quick because listen, people aren't shy about it, especially when you get out of your bubble. When you're a local band and all your friends and family are around, everything's great.
yeah.
You can't trust anybody because they love everything. But when you get out there, guys like you, and you get out there all over the world, I do interviews with people in France and Germany and England and all over America and everywhere else. Man, if they don't like something, they're not going to lie about it because they don't want their listeners to think that they're idiots. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you learn really quick, and so I've been very pleased at the results. But yeah, people decide if you get to
Yeah.
keep doing this. You don't.
Do, do you feel like Alamode is one of the most American album covers ever made? I mean, that is America on that. That is America, dude. That's Americana right there, man. It's got everything, dude.
You know what? We used to not be afraid to have a sense of humor, right? And being from Oklahoma, a lot of people see trailer parks. They see that very setting. You know what I mean? And so we just decided to make a joke of it. It wasn't any statement other than we just thought it was funny. And it's just one of those throwback 70s type things that you used to see in the 70s. Those are the record companies that teenage boys especially used to put up on their wall, right? They'd take
Hmm.
the record out, put the sleeve out there, then they'd staple
Yeah,
or tack it to the wall. You'd have that cover on the wall. We just wanted that. We're not trying to make any statements. It's just funny. You
yeah.
know what I mean?
It makes me smile, man, because like
There you go.
it's especially as a guy, I'm like, this is the best album cover of all time. Like if I was a teenager, it would be the thing that I have in the magazine that I don't want my parents to see that I'm
There
hiding
you
from them.
go.
You
I
know?
got you. Yeah.
Yes.
But
Uh,
it's one you remember.
yes. For sure. The record's been out about a month now, going on or so, give or take.
Yeah. Hmm.
Um, What's the rest of the year look like, man? We're halfway through 2026 already, which is fucking nuts. We're right on the cusp of the 4th of July. What's the rest of
Right.
2026 look like for you guys?
Well, this is the first summer in 3 years that we haven't got on planes and headed overseas. We've done 5 tours overseas in the last 3 years. So it feels a little strange not to be heading to much cooler weather and different food and all of that. But we leave out in August this year in America, and we'll be with Blue Oyster Cult for quite a bit of that through November. And there's a couple of other, two or three other bands that we'll be with that we can't say yet. I know the names, but I can't tell anybody yet
Sure.
because it's not been advertised. But
Yeah.
a couple of very iconic Southern rock bands that we'll be out with in the late summer and fall. And I'm looking forward to that, especially because those are the fans that make or break you. You know what I mean? They're the ones that will give you that instant yes or no.
Mhm.
And so what we're hoping is that we get out with those guys. And plus, they're just great. But same with Blue Oyster Cult. They're celebrating the 50th anniversary of Don't Fear the Reaper.
Oh my
So
God, that's
so they're more
50?
than just Will Ferrell on the cowbell. You know what I mean? But I think a lot of those bands had a resurgence also because of
Yeah.
Stranger Things. And so
Yeah.
I was talking to our manager and said their audience is a lot younger. And we had a friend of ours, their son, contacted us. He said, "Listen, I gotta have Buck Dharma's. That's the guitarist for
Mhm.
Boys for Clothes. I gotta have his autograph. I love that guy. Where did you hear of him at? Stranger Things. Okay, well there you go.
Wow.
So you owe a lot to Netflix and the people there. A lot of those
Yeah.
bands, Foghat, the same way. They're having a huge resurgence. Same
Really?
rate because listen, good songs are good songs, and
Yeah.
once you expose people to them, they say, "Where have these guys been?" Well, they've been around for 40 years, but you didn't. Nobody let you hear them until somebody was smart enough to put it on a soundtrack and bring that back and bring it alive. And so I'm thrilled that these bands are having that resurgence, and we are just so thrilled to go out with some of these iconic bands and meet the people out there and be a part of that. And it's always a great time.
I love that, especially Foghat. They put a record out a year or two ago that was really, really
Yeah,
good. Like these bands are still
that's right.
creating music that's still good and holds up as well. They're not just
A lot of them are,
like,
and that's right.
yeah,
And they just need people to hear it.
yeah,
And like I said, thanks to some of these TV shows, especially Stranger Things. And I'll be honest with you, I've never watched one episode of that show, so
same.
I can't tell you anything about it.
I know of
But I
it.
can tell you that, yeah, that's me. I can tell you that I know the soundtracks to every season have given new life to a lot of these great bands because those songs and the Guardians of the Galaxy did the same thing.
Yeah,
You know what
great.
I mean? All
Yeah,
his mixes, his mixes he put on,
yeah.
and it just goes back to great songs. Great songs are timeless. You just got to
Mhm.
get them in front of people. And so I'm really glad that these bands are having this revival, and we're glad to be a part of it. We get to go from New York to Los Angeles and back with Blue Oyster Cult, and that's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, that's gonna be those are gonna be party shows, dude. Those are gonna be awesome. Just the crowds, those are gonna be some of the most fun crowds of
Yeah, a
all.
lot of great venues. We've played several of the venues that we're going back to, but there's some new ones that we're looking forward to, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Have you ever played? I can't remember what it's called now, but it's called Pierre's, and it's in Fort Wayne, Indiana. It
No.
God, it's for years it was a 21 and up only, and the only thing I can describe it is the closest thing you'll see to the Sunset Strip back in the 80s. And it's just a party of a venue. It is so much fun. That place just gets
You know,
wild.
we had kind of a weird skip a couple of levels deal with us. We did clubs early on,
Hmm.
but then we did some NASCAR stuff, and that that built our
That
our
helps.
our footprint. And then we went out with Nugent for 10 weeks,
Hmm.
and then we did 5 tours overseas, and we kind of got to skip the club thing there and go into the places like the Mill and
Hmm.
that amphitheater over there by Indianapolis and
Yep.
places like that. So we've been very fortunate that we got to jump the line a little bit, but
Yeah.
it's through hard work. But we
Yeah.
jumped the line a little bit thanks to great artists and great management, honestly. We're managed by David Spiro,
Mhm.
obviously, and like you mentioned earlier, and now we have a great label in Cordo Valley, which the owner of that label, the founder Bruce Corto, is one of the most artist friendly, just supportive guys that you can ever meet and that you'd ever want to be associated with in the music business. And so, thanks to them, we've been able to do some really good things and really good things coming up.
Nice. I'm excited. If you come through my area at all, because I'm between Fort Wayne and Indy. If you come to my area at all, man, this year I've got to check it out.
Yeah, I'd have to look at the schedule, but I think so. I think that we probably are through there. I know
Nice.
that we're in Michigan, we're in Chicago again, we're in New Jersey, New York, Los Angeles,
Wow.
Pennsylvania, a lot of Pennsylvania, and and we've been in Ohio a bunch of times. I think we'll be back in Ohio. So yeah, there's a lot of that
Close.
crisscrossing, and that's the thing about touring, man. You think they figure routing out, but they don't.
No.
When we were out on the last American tour, I think we crossed the same bridge in West Virginia 5 times. Back and forth. You know, never stopped in West Virginia, but we crossed that same bridge in and out of West Virginia 5 times. You know what I mean? I saw Pittsburgh several times and I never stopped there. But anyway, that's
West
just kind of
Virginia,
how routing goes. You're this way, that way, and all that.
but that region is just gorgeous, though. Especially West
It
Virginia.
is.
It is beautiful.
Yeah.
Um, you know. But man, thank you so much for doing this today, man. I'm glad we were able to
Thank
connect.
you. Had a good time.
Congrats on a great album, great songs, and good
Thank
luck
you.
on the road this fall, man. It's going to be a fun year.